Welcome everybody to a brand new series on the channel. This is a Road to Glory save with Solihull Moors starting in the Vanarama National League. The aim of the series is to get them up into the Premier League, to win the Champions League, win the Premier League obviously, and improve everything else about the club. The training facilities, the youth recruitment, the youth facilities, absolutely everything. And the finances have got to stay good. And on top of that, we want to have a really good youth system within this club. So here we go. Road to Glory starts here with season 1. So welcome to the video. As you join me, we are at the end of season 1. Now the way this will work going forward, for anyone that's seen my rebuild series or even the Road to Glory series with Aveley last year, you all know that we start off with a part 1, then we have a part 2, then we have a part 3. This video will be slightly different, mainly because when I first started this save, I never intended for it to be a YouTube series, and then I got about a quarter of the way through the season, and I just thought, do you know what? Why not make this a Road to Glory series on YouTube? So that's why this first season will be a little bit different to what the rest of them will be. But basically, what we, like I said in the intro, we need to get this club from the Vanarama National League to the Premier League. And this is the board objectives that we were set at the beginning of the series. Work within wage budget. They're planning on building a new stadium, which is lovely. We currently have a stadium that is a capacity of 5,500. If we can get more, that will be awesome. They wanted me to reach the Vanarama National League playoffs. We've done at least that. Reach the FA Cup proper. We've done at least that. And reach the latter stages of the FA Trophy, which we passed as well. Now, if what we'll do is we'll have a look at the schedule, or actually we'll have a look at the competition screen first. And as you can see, Vanarama National League, we won the National League. 46 games played, 29 wins, 12 draws, 5 defeats, a goal difference of 48, 99 points in the National League. We are up into League 2 for next season, and that is lovely stuff. The English FA Cup, we got to the third round proper of that, getting knocked out by Burnley. Unfortunately, we was away from home, so we never got the lovely money that you get for the nice away tie at a club that's got a decent attendance and whatever. Then in the English FA Trophy, we got knocked out in the semi-final by Yeovil Town, who are in the Vanarama National League South, no less. So yeah, that was disappointing to get knocked out in the semi-final by them, but delighted to get to the final. They wanted a quarter-final, we got to semi-final. We exceeded expectations. When we first joined the club, we'll have a look at transfers. When we first joined the club, obviously we started this in original mode, so a lot of these transfers were already done and already went through and whatever else. And the only signings we made were Charles Hagan and Fidel Ross Lang. We'll get to those in a moment. And the only players we let go, Leo Wood went out on loan to Chippenham for £1.9 thousand loan fee. As you can see, he's a 19-year-old striker with 2.5-star current ability, 3 to 4-star potential. He's potentially a very good player, but we need to actually look at whether we're going to be keeping him at the club for next season or not. I probably will try if he's interested in staying. But yeah, he went out, like I say, to Chippenham, I think it was, on loan. 12 goals, 2 assists from 43 appearances, average rate of 6.63, 19 years old. He's got plenty of time to improve. Finn Barker left to go to Gainsborough on a free transfer as well. In terms of the players we brought in, we really didn't have much by way of wide options. So we brought in Charles Hagan, who is a regular force on the right-hand side, 3.5-star current ability with 4.5-star potential, 22 years old. I will be looking at building a young, youthful-looking team here at Solihull Moors, and he's got some decent attributes as well. Mainly plays a winger, can play up top if we need him to, but he is a winger. This season, 42 appearances, 39 of them starts, 12 goals, 14 assists at 7.13. He has been fantastic. He's here for at least next season as well for us in League 2. Then we've got Fidel Ross Lang, who started off as a first choice, but then kind of became a bit more of a rotational option. He's only 2.5-star current ability with 2.5 to 3.5-star potential. He's 20 years old. And yeah, 40 appearances, 9 goals, 7 assists at a 6.84. He done pretty decently for us, to be fair. He's got some decent attributes about him. And yeah, he played mainly on the left-hand side for us. All his other transfers were done before we got here, so I can't take credit or blame for that. The one name I will point you to is this name here, John Benton. For those of you that watched my bottom up series, that was my first full series on YouTube, and then we started that with Aveley in the Vanarama National League South, and then once we moved on from Aveley to Colchester United, I then kept Aveley and done a Road to Glory save with them. But John Benton was with me at Aveley, at least in the bottoms up version of it. He may have moved on by the time we carried on the Road to Glory series, but I loved him at Aveley. I thought he was a fantastic player. And this season, we click on here, and he joined Aveley the season before on a free transfer. He's now come to us on a free transfer. And as you see here, in the league, 41 appearances, 14 goals, 7 assists, with 2 player of the match awards at 7.01. Overall, he had 48 appearances, 17 goals, 9 assists. He does tend to take penalties. He took 7 penalties, scoring 5 of them. And yeah, I loved having John Benton at the club. If we actually look at his positional thing, he can play anywhere in the midfield or the attacking midfield, or out wide on the left-hand side as well. Only 22 years old. He will be here again for us next season as well. Yeah, my love affair with John Benton continues. I do really, really like that boy. In terms of our squad, if we look at our squad at the moment and have a look at the actual names as well, you can see here I've got it filtered by contract expiry. So we've got, if we have a look at this now, what contracts are actually going to be expiring this season. Oh, there we go. We have got 12 people whose contracts are going to be expiring. These two will definitely be leaving. They're going back to their parent clubs. They were here on loan this season. Max Brogan will absolutely be leaving. I have offered contracts to Fidel Ross Lang and I believe Taylor Eads as well. I don't think there's anyone else I've offered contracts to, but they're 2 of their younger players with a little bit of potential that we could keep around for the squad. But yeah, other than that, the other 10 will be leaving. Both goalkeepers will be gone during this summer. So when we do next week's video, part 1, I'll be showing you what new goalkeepers we've brought into the club. Hopefully we have brought some, otherwise we're going to be struggling if we haven't got any goalkeepers at the club. But yeah, so that's basically who's going to be leaving. We've then got a core of players that are going to be staying. Now, Joe Sabara, 4.5-star potential player. We've got another 4.5-star potential in Charles Hagan as well. Potentially also Cade Craig will be 4.5-star potential. So we've got some really, and others that are 4 stars as well. We've got some really good players that are still going to be staying at the club. And I am quite hopeful that we can do ourselves proud next season in League 2. But if we have a look next at the schedule, I'll talk you through how we got on in our first season at Solihull Moors in the league, the FA Cup and the FA Trophy. So as with every season, we started off with our pre-season friendlies. We had 4 wins and a defeat in our pre-season friendly. I was quite pleased that we actually got a win against Celtic's B team, a 3-1 win. I thought that was a pretty decent result actually, considering it is their B team. But in terms of how we started the league, we started off against Eastleigh with a 5-2 win in that game. 2 goals from John Benton, 2 from Fidel Ross Lang and 1 from Tavon Campbell. Then we played Ebbsfleet and got a 1-1 draw away from home against them. Then against Boreham Wood, we won 3-2 before a 1-0 win against Dorking, and then another win at home 3-2 against Halifax Town. We then lost their first game of the season against Oldham away from home at Boundary Park, losing that 3-2. As you can see, we're scoring and conceding goals, and that kind of remained a familiar story throughout the season, that we weren't really known for keeping clean sheets, put it that way. Then we played Oxford City, winning 4-0 in the league before an away trip against our rivals at Kidderminster Harriers, a 1-1 draw in that game. Then we had a good 4-2 win at home against Fylde and a 2-0 win against Bromley at home. Then 5-2 win away from home against Hartlepool. And by golly, how far Hartlepool have fallen. I mean, I remember them being a Football League team, and they are very much a National League team at the moment. And in that game, Matt Warburton, Tavon Campbell, Fidel Ross Lang and John Benton again getting on the score sheet for us. Then we had a 0-0 draw, a very rare result for us, against York away from home. Then we had a draw at home against Rochdale, 1-1. Then a 5-2 win at home against Aldershot Town with Stearman, Campbell, Hagan, Mafuta and Beck getting on the score sheet. Against Woking away from home, we won 3-2. Then we played our first cup game of the season. It was an FA Cup fourth qualifying round game against Southport FC. We do play them later on in the FA Trophy as well. On this occasion, away from home, we won 3-2. Then against Southend in the National League, our second defeat of the season, lost that one away from home again, 3-2. Disappointing result, but it is what it is. Then after Southend, we had Barnet winning that one. I mean, we're getting a result of 3-2s either way at the moment. Barnet was 3-2. We won that one. James Clark with a goal and John Benton with 2. Then we played Wildston United and picked up a 2-1 win at home against them. Then we played Doncaster Rovers of League 2, and they finished 7th in League 2 as well, by the way. And that was a really good result, a 4-0 win away from home. Whitmore, Benton, Hagan and Osborne getting on the score sheet. Then we played Dagenham and Redbridge, a 4-1 win in the league away from home. Maidenhead was at home, a 5-0 win in this game. And then a 1-1 draw against Gateshead. Gateshead were doing pretty well in the league at the time. And I don't know where they finished in the end. 8th in the end, so they've done reasonably well for themselves. Then we had another game against Kidderminster Harriers in the FA Cup second round, a 4-2 win in that game. Then we played Altrincham in the league and lost 1-0 before facing Southport again in the FA Trophy third round, beating them 3-1. Then we played Oldham again, this time at home, and it was a 1-1 draw. Woking at home was also a 1-1 draw. We kind of went through quite a sticky period around this time, only winning 2 games out of, 7 there. So it was a bit of a tricky period, this one. We beat Oxford City 2-1 away from home, and Chesterfield we won also 2-1, this time at home. Then against Chesterfield in basically the return fixture, we lost 2-0. They were second in the league at the time. They finished third in the end, but yeah, they were second at the time. It was top versus bottom, one after another. And then we played Burnley in the FA Cup third round. I don't actually think a 2-0 defeat was that bad, actually. Wilson, Odeber and Mike Trassor getting the goals for Burnley. Like I say, unfortunately, we were the home team, not them. If they were the home team and we look at what type of attendances they were getting, I mean, 21,000 there, 20,000, 19, 21, 21, 21. So it would have been nice to have got, even if it was 15,000 for a game against us, that would have been absolutely lovely, but wasn't meant to be. Then we played Halifax and our run was continuing, a 2-2 draw away from home against Halifax. Before then, we finally managed to get a win against Dover Athletic, 2-1 at home, and then a 3-1 win at home against Dagenham and Redbridge. We then had the return game against Gateshead away from home that we won 3-1. We then beat Maidenhead 2-1 away from home. Then we moved into February. Altrincham were next up. We played them at home and drew 1-1. I think we actually lost to them earlier on in the season or later on in the season. We played them twice and we didn't beat them, basically. Then we had Kidderminster Harriers, a 3-1 win against them in the National League at home. Then Torquay away from home in the FA Trophy fifth round. We beat them on penalties, Torquay. They are a National League South team. Then we played Rochdale in the league, a 1-1 draw away from home. Another away game against AFC Fylde this time, and that was a 2-2 draw. Then we come up again against Hartlepool, this time at home, winning 1-0, Mark Beck getting the only goal in that game. Ebbsfleet were next up at home, a 4-2 win against them. Then we moved on to Eastleigh away from home, a 4-3 win. In that. You get goals in our games, I'm telling you that. Then we played Gateshead in the FA Trophy quarter-final, a 2-1 win at home against them in that game. Charles Hagan and Tavon Campbell getting the goals for us there. Boreham Wood were next up at home in the league, a 2-1 win. Dorking away from home, we lost 2-1. Aldershot away from home, we then beat 2-1 before a 1-0 win at home against Southend United. We then played Barnet at home, a 3-1 win. Warburton, Sabara and Fedor Ross Lang with the goals for us in that game. Wildston, a 3-0 win away from home before the disappointing defeat on penalties against Yeovil Town in the FA Trophy look. Do they play this at Wembley? It doesn't tell me. I'm going to assume they do. And if they do, then we missed out on a day trip to Wembley, which I'm very sad about. Bromley were then up in the league after that, a 2-0 win in that game and a 1-1 draw away from home. No, sorry, at home against York in the National League, finished off the season. Bringing us the end of season stats. Mark Beck was the highest average rated player in the league, is our striker on a 7.61. We didn't have a striker, considering all the goals we scored, we didn't have a striker in the top goal scorers list. But we did have Joe Newton and Charles Hagan, the top two assist makers in there. If we have a look at some team detailed stats, for example, average possession wise, we are playing a vertical tiki-taka type formation, 58% possession. We were the fourth best in the league for that. The ones that really matter, though, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the set pieces. So let's get down to the actual set piece statistics. And where are goals from corners? Solihull Moors, 21 goals from corners. Set pieces continue to be my absolute go-to thing. 5 goals ahead of Rochdale and 6 goals ahead of Hartlepool. In terms of goals from direct free kicks, we weren't in that. We didn't get a single goal from a direct free kick. In terms of goals from indirect free kicks, we were right down here. We had 2, but Dagenham and Redbridge up there with 8. Corners is where we get our goals. So what I think we'll do now is we will move over to the end of season review. We'll go through that and have a look at what the official stats have to say about our season. So before the end of season report has come, all this sort of stuff about your support profile, end of season team meetings and all of that. So we'll have a quick look at that. The support profile update is that hardcore is at 9%, core is 27%, family is down to 28%, fair weather is up to 10%. We've got 1% corporate and 25% casual. Supporters' influence on the board is moderate. Our social media following has gone up by 3.4 thousand people, 600 supporters on the season ticket list. And there's all the other stuff, make the most set pieces, play possession, attacking football, etc., etc. Then we move on to the club vision and expectations meeting. They want us to attempt to avoid relegation from Sky Bet League 2, which means if we do get relegated, we should be okay. We're not going to get sacked because obviously I say at the start of the video how we want to get Solihull Moors up to the Premier League and winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, all that sort of stuff. If we get sacked, the series is finished because this isn't a journeyman. So, yeah, we've got to work within the wage budget, grow the club's reputation, all that sort of stuff. What I'm a bit saddened by here is it doesn't say anything about building a new stadium. We don't need one necessarily at the moment. We're not filling our current one. But, yeah, attempt to avoid relegation. We'll accept the vision for the club. The dynamics of the club, excellent dressing room atmosphere, excellent managerial support. These are our team leaders, highly influential players, all that sort of stuff. We have 15 people in the core social group, 8 players in the secondary social group, and just 1 player in the others. I'll have to have a look at that in a minute, see who that is. End of season team meeting. Let's discuss that with them. Basically, what we want to say is that we want to attempt to avoid relegation, fight bravely against it, all that sort of stuff. So I'd like to talk about our Sky Bet League 2 aims for next season. Looking ahead to next season, I'm optimistic we can avoid a fight against relegation and start comfortably. Probably not the one to say. I think we're in a good position. No, promotion this season. I'm more than happy to go into next season with you all and believe we can avoid. No, we need to find the one that says we're going to battle bravely, I think. So congratulations on achieving promotion this season. Go into, no, we've already said that one. All done superbly to achieve promotion this season, but you must understand that I will have to strengthen the squad if we are to avoid relegation. Not sure that's one, blah, blah, blah. Promotion was fully deserved, and you'll all be given the chance to keep us up when we come back for pre-season. Enjoy your breaks. It's a great achievement, but we have to focus on staying up next season now, and I'm convinced that we're right additions. Why is there so many options? Just give me the one that I want. It's all about I'm going to give us the best chance of avoiding relegation by bringing in some new faces. Whereas one that just says we're going to battle bravely. That's all I want. I'm so happy. I wish I could come on to this team talk now. Promotion was fully deserved and you'll be given the chance to keep us up when we come back for pre. We'll go with that one. There you go. They're satisfied. Brilliant. That's what I wanted to hear. That'll be all for now. There you go. We'll leave them happy. That's what it's all about. So leave the meeting. That's that one done. The new season team report. Yeah, lovely. End of season squad break. And that's what someone thinks of one of our players. Right, now we will get to the end of season review, I promise. Well, we're finally at the stage for the end of season review. I was wondering if we were actually going to get one because there's been several times in FM24 where I've not had an end of season review. But anyway, here we go. Solihull Moors, the Vanarama National League trophy is ours. Let's have a look at the new arrivals. There's not a great deal to go through. Charles Hagan, who I signed, has been classed as our sign of the season, an A from the board. This is mainly down to the player's high ability level relative to the squad. He is a very good player, 7.09. Jay Ben, who's a player on loan, was our best performing player at 7.13. He got 3 goals, 10 assists from the fullback position. I think it's from the right-hand side. Charles Hagan, 15 goals, 15 assists. Lovely stuff. John Benton, 17 goals, 9 assists at 7.04. Matt Warburton, 8 goals, 2 assists from a 7.01. Tavon Campbell, I mean, they paid a fee for him, £20,000. I didn't pay that. He got 22 goals, 3 assists. He's just behind Mark Beck as our top scorer, 7.01. Cade Craig, one of our youngsters, centre-back, left-back that will be here next season, 2 goals, 3 assists. Then Josh Labadie, who is just, he's a well-travelled midfielder, but he does like a red card. 4 goals, 3 assists. When he actually plays, he plays very well, but he just gets sent off far, far too often. And as you say, there's a lot of new signings that came in at the beginning of the season, as there will be for the new season. In terms of the players that have gone out, I mean, we got 40 grand for this guy, 250,000 for Josh Kelly, undisclosed for this guy down here. I don't really know any of them, so there's not really a great deal to say about them. In terms of the season's results in the National League, we finished first. We had an average home attendance of 2,247. It's only 40% filled, so hopefully we can fill that up more now that we're going to be in League 2. Mark Beck, our top goal scorer in the league with 20 goals, an A+ from the board, and I should think so too. The FA Cup, I mean, they've given us a B-. We got to the third round proper. We beat Southport, Doncaster Rovers, Kidderminster Harriers, and then lost to Burnley in our little FA Cup expedition, I suppose. Again, 40% filled in that. Mark Beck, John Benton and Charles Hagan top scorer with 2 goals each in that one. In the FA Trophy, Tavon Campbell with 4 goals was the top goal scorer in that one. Again, 40% home attendance. We beat Southport, Dover, Torquay, Gateshead and then lost to Yeovil. Moments to remember. The biggest win was the 5-0 win against Maidenhead in the Vanarama National League. The match to remember was a 5-2 win away against Hartlepool. And then the goal of the season was Jamie Osborne, a top draw goal from more central midfielder Osborne as he hits a thumping free kick from 23 metres. Well done, Tom. We won that game 4-0 as well. So well done, team, for that one. When we look at the finances side of it, the club reputation, we are a 1.5-star regional reputation team. Sponsorship, I mean, all these don't really matter because it's all early, like first season stuff. None of it really matters. It's a case of can we better this stuff next season. Merchandise, £44,015 worth of merchandise sales. None of it was from anyone abroad. So basically, yeah, we're not known outside of Solihull, really. How we lined up, this is our team of the season. Hayes in goal, Newton left back, Clark right back, Stearman and Whitmore in the middle, Osborne, Warburton and Mafuta in the midfield, Benton and Hagan out wide with Beck up top. Yeah, I mean, Benton would usually play in the midfield and we'd usually play somebody else out wide like Fedel Ross Lang, for example. But yeah, I don't disagree with that wholeheartedly. It looks a pretty decent team to me. In terms of the accolades, Joe Newton was the fans' player of the season. Joe Newton was the young player of the season, 22 years old. Charles Hagan was the signing of the season. I'm surprised he didn't actually get young player of the season, but Joe Newton was very good with assists. As you see down here, he had the most assists for the season, 18 assists as a fullback. Jamie Osborne, as we know, with the goal of the season. Mark Beck, as we said, is top goal scorer, 1 goal more than Tavon Campbell. Mark Beck was the most player of the match awards with 9. Highest average rating was Joe Newton, and most passes completed per 90 minutes was Kyle Morrison, a 28-year-old centre-back, with 65 passes completed per 90 minutes. In terms of the record breakers, I mean, these are all here because, again, it's the first season. Mark Beck as the most overall goals by a player in the season with 23. Most league goals by a player in the season was Mark Beck with 20. Joe Newton, most assists by a player. Nick Hayes had 10 clean sheets. I think we didn't keep many clean sheets, that's for certain. And that's something I really want to improve on next season. I want the defence to be a lot more solid. Worst discipline was Josh Ladderby with 10 yellow cards and 3 red cards. I mean, that guy just loved the suspension. He really did. Kean Riley, 18 years old, was our youngest player. Oldest player was Richard Stearman. I think that record will stay forever because I never plan on having anyone that's 36 years and 245 days old. Mark Beck with the fastest goal in 48 seconds. Kean Riley, our youngest goal scorer, and our oldest goal scorer is obviously Richard Stearman. And no lovely little awards for me, unfortunately. History in the making, there you go. Solihull Moors took a little while to get going, but really set themselves up for this most magical of outcomes with their mid-season run. I mean, that's not really true because it was around mid-season we had that slump. So, yeah, manager profile is what the manager profile is, and that is the end of that. These are the medals that we're going to be getting. If we have a look at a dev centre as well, by the way, we have a strong under-18 squad. We don't have like a under-21s or anything like that yet. But if we have a look at the actual squad itself, I filtered it by potential. And as you see, we do have some really good potential players. I mean, if we look at it from there down to probably here, that's 9 players of very decent potential, should they see that potential through. And the range of the players range from 15 to 19. So Leo Wood, he's out on loan at the moment. I'm looking at bringing him into our squad for next season so he can play a part as a backup striker, give him some game time. He's 19 years old, as I say. Hopefully we can keep him around for a little bit. And then, I mean, these two guys here, one's 15, Martin Walton, as a left side attacking midfielder or a striker. We want him to be a player, we really do. So, yeah, it'd be a case of trying to nurture him through. We have Finn Howell, who is a left back. We play support left back on the left hand side, obviously. We play support there with attack on the right. So he could potentially get some game time for us next season as well. The fact that he's 18, again, I want to try and see if we can realise some of this potential and get him a bit of a transfer value up as well in case somebody wants to buy him. So yeah, we've got some fairly decent players in there, and we'll obviously have a youth intake come in next season. We did have a youth intake this season. You would have already seen them, like Martin Walton, for example, was our top candidate, and then we had a few decent top talents as well. It was an excellent intake. I was quite pleased with this intake. So we've got at least 5 players here that could potentially be players for us in the future. Obviously, it depends on how quickly we go up through the leagues, because if we get like back to promotions and within 2 more seasons we end up in the championship, then these will be left behind quite quickly. But if we are slowly going through the leagues, then they could do something for us. And in a way, going slowly would probably be a better thing for us, because then it gives time for these players to get a bit older, get a bit of game time and experience, and maybe we can sell them on for a bit of money, make a bit of profit on it. If we look at the finances, the first thing you'll go to is a transfer budget. We have 53,330. Most of that will go into the wage budget. We have a £39,600 wage budget, which we go over to here. Means we've got £12,047 left in the wage budget at the moment. If we look at our squad, look at the actual wages of our highest earners, £1,200, £1,300 at the moment. So we could be potentially looking at 5 or 6 top quality signings for next season, which we will get into in next week's video. We do have £123,000 in the bank. We have had a little bit of a bump. When we first came here in July, we had 327. By the time the season started, it went up to 432. As is always the case, you lose money as the season goes on. We sort of plateaued pretty much through here. Then we had a bit of a drop again towards the end of the season, and now we're up to 159,000. So I did recently ask for things to be improved. If we have a look at this screen, we have got below average training facilities, good youth facilities, good youth recruitment, good academy coaching. I did ask for the training facilities to be upgraded because they have actually just been downgraded, and I got rejected on that. I asked for the youth recruitment to be improved and the youth facilities, and got rejected on both of those as well. So I will keep going with that, and hopefully we will be able to get somewhere close to getting them bumped up a little bit, because by the time we're in the Premier League and winning the Champions League, because we will do, I'm being positive, I want these to be like exceptional, state of the art and all that sort of stuff. And presumably we'll be in a different stadium. Damson Park is where we play a home game, like I said earlier, with a capacity of 5,500. Right, let's go and have a look at the tactic that we've been using for this season so far. And here we are at the tactic screen. And for those of you that watch my previous content on this channel, especially the likes of Dortmund and Monaco, things like that, this tactic will be very familiar to you. I play a custom vertical tiki-taka 4-3-3 formation. We obviously have our goalkeeper here. We have a wing back on support on the left, a wing back on the right on attack. Then our two, I would normally play ball playing defenders, but at this level, you're taking a big risk by having ball playing defenders. So we just go with central defenders. Both of them are on defend. We do sometimes swap these over. This will be attack, this will be support. It depends on which side has the best attacking qualities, really. And this season, it's been on the right-hand side. We have an anchor in the midfield with a ball-winning midfielder and a box-to-box midfielder in front. Ordinarily, I would play a Mazzala and an advanced playmaker here. The one thing I don't like about this is I've not got a playmaker in my midfield, and I do like to have a playmaker. So these two roles here could change next season. We're not stuck with these players or anything like that. But yeah, usually I'd have an anchor, a Mazzala and an advanced playmaker. We then have our inside forward on attack because he's on support. This inside forward is on support because he's on attack. That's how we always have it. So again, if we switched it and had an inside forward on attack, sorry, a wing back on attack on this side, then this inside forward would switch from attack to support. They just alternate each other basically. And then we have our advanced forward on attack up top. That is the tactic we've got for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the team selection, because I do want to design, or I do want to come up with another couple of tactics. So one that I am kind of thinking of at the moment is another vertical tiki-taka, but I'm going to be dirty here. Now, do I want that one? Don't know. Do I want this one? Probably not. Do I want this one? Oh, no, probably not that. I think actually we will go with this one. So that's what one of the formations we're going to set up. I'm looking at this for mainly when we come up against really, really big teams that we're going to struggle against. Confirm that. Now, I don't mind central defenders. We've got wing backs here on support. I would want one of them to be on attack. So, I mean, I'm tempted to have both of them on attack, because what we have got here, I want one of them to be an anchor in the midfield. The other one can be a defensive midfielder on defend as well. And then we can have him supporting going forward, him attacking going forward. We've got advanced playmaker, our attacking midfielder, and our advanced forward. So I think we would probably keep that as it is. And the only thing I will then turn on is play for set pieces, because we do like to play for our set pieces. And the rest of it, I'll probably leave exactly as it is. I don't play around with it too much to begin with. What I do is, like with this tactic here, I will play about with it as the season goes on. If I think something needs to be changed, then I will change it. I'm going to change these now so that I have my advanced playmaker on attack. There you go. That is how I'd normally have it set up, and that's how I'm going to try and set my team up for next season. We will also go with another tactic. Control possession is what I'm going to go for. And we want the 4-2-3-1. And then here, again, I don't tend to have a defensive midfielder. I usually have an anchor. And then I'll probably go with a box. Oh, kind of a box-to-box, kind of, because it's... We'd have a deep line playmaker here on support and change him to an attacking midfielder on attack. We'll stick with a complete forward. Why not? I don't have inverted wingers. I like to have inside forwards. So he would be on attack. And then this inside forward would be on support, because we'll switch him to being a wing back on attack. So we have very similar positions to our other formations, but just slightly different. That one I would want to be on positive mentality. This one I'm happy to keep on balanced, and this one is obviously on positive mentality as well. So there you go. That is how our tactics are going to be lined up for next season. This will be the primary trained tactic. We will obviously hope to score plenty of goals from corners as well. And yeah, if we have a look at our expectations for next season, it is attempt to avoid relegation. So join me next Sunday, 2 p.m, as it will always be. That's the time I always upload on a Sunday for season 2 of the Road to Glory save with Solihull Moors. Can we stay in League Two?